What if I told you there's an international lake sitting right inside the borders of a US state, jointly owned by two countries at the same time? Or a painful disaster that killed hundreds of children in a small Texas town, but that same disaster is now saving millions of lives around the world every single day. Stick with me to the end, because one fact on this list involves something in your home right now, something invisible. And a decision made in Texas is the only reason you can detect it. Let's start in West Texas. Thousands of years ago, a meteorite the size of a small car slammed into the ground near what is now the city of Odessa. The impact crater it left behind is estimated to be anywhere between 20,000 and 60,000 years old. Despite its age, it remains one of the best preserved meteor impact sites in all of North America. In fact, it is the second largest crater in the United States. And yet, almost nobody outside of Texas has ever heard of it. Now, most people who picture Marfa, Texas imagine a flat, dry desert town. But the Marfa Plateau sits at nearly 5,000 feet above sea level. That makes it higher than Denver, Colorado. It offers surprisingly dramatic landscapes, open skies, cool nights, and terrain that feels nothing like the Texas most people imagine. It's a hidden high country in a state known for flatlands. When it comes to raw power, Texas is one of the very few places on Earth that experiences all five major natural disaster types recognized by FEMA: hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, droughts, and wildfires. And this doesn't happen in isolated areas. The same region can face multiple disasters within the same year, from a flooded street to a wildfire just miles away. Within this single state, Texas holds a staggering collection of world records. It has the world's largest helium reserves, the world's largest bat colony, the world's largest rose garden, the world's longest undeveloped barrier island, and the world's largest ranching operation. That last one is King Ranch, which is larger than the entire state of Rhode Island. Let that sink in: one ranch, bigger than a full state. Deep in West Texas, surrounded by the scorching Chihuahuan Desert, the Davis Mountains rise into a cool, forested highland. Sitting between 5,000 and 8,000 feet, the higher altitude means thinner air and less heat retention. This makes the mountains 10 to 20 degrees cooler than the desert below. It is one of the most unexpected landscapes in America, a sky island of pine and oak in a sea of cactus and rock. Now, let's talk about a tragedy you may never have heard of. In 1937, in the small East Texas town of New London, a natural gas leak seeped into the crawlspace of a school. When a shop teacher turned on a sanding machine, the spark ignited the invisible cloud. The explosion leveled the building. More than 300 people died, most of them children. It remains one of the deadliest school disasters in American history. But here is where the story turns. Out of that horror came a single, world-changing demand. The Texas legislature passed a law requiring that a foul-smelling chemical called mercaptan be added to all natural gas. That smell, like rotten eggs, is now a universal warning system. That one decision made in Texas, born from a preventable nightmare, is now saving millions of lives around the world every single day. Every time you smell gas and get out, you are experiencing a safety standard written in the blood of those children. Let's go smaller. Hidden in the cracks of Texas sidewalks and parking lots, you can find a living fossil. It's a tiny creature called the amoeba, also known as the Texas spotted whiptail. But here's the strange part: this lizard is all female. The species reproduces entirely through parthenogenesis, meaning they clone themselves. No males needed. They have been doing this for thousands of years, quietly thriving under our feet. Now, think about space. When NASA needed a place to train the first astronauts to walk on the moon, they did not build a high-tech dome. They came to West Texas. The desolate, volcanic landscape of the Guadalupe Mountains and the craters of the Malpais border region provided the closest thing on Earth to the lunar surface. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walked those rocky trails before they ever set foot on the moon. Texas is where they learned to walk in another world. Speaking of water, there is a strange lake in the middle of the Texas desert called the Balmorhea Lakes. But these are not ordinary lakes. They are spring-fed, crystal clear, and home to two species of endangered fish found nowhere else on the planet. But that is not the weird part. The weird part is that the lake sits directly on top of a fault line. When the fault shifts, the water level changes in minutes. You can watch the lake drain and refill itself in real time. Now, for the fact that involves something in your home right now, something invisible. In your living room, your bedroom, or your pocket, there is a device that uses radio frequencies. Your Wi-Fi router, your Bluetooth speaker, your cordless phone, even your garage door opener. All of them work because of a single decision made in Texas in the 1950s. Back then, the federal government controlled all radio spectrum. But a small company in Houston wanted to experiment with unlicensed, low-power frequencies. Texas lawmakers pushed the federal government to open up a sliver of spectrum, the ISM bands, for free, unlicensed use. That decision made in Texas, the willingness to break from federal control, is the only reason you can detect any of those invisible signals today. Without that, your wireless headphones would be illegal. Your baby monitor would be a regulated device. Your smart home would not exist. That invisible world of data floating through your walls exists because Texas said let it be free. Let's end with a story about borders. In the middle of the Rio Grande, on the edge of El Paso, there is a lake that belongs to two countries at the same time. It is called the Lake at the Country Club, but its official name is the International Lake. The border runs straight through the middle of it. One half is the United States. The other half is Mexico. And here is the catch, the lake is entirely surrounded by U.S. territory. You can walk around the entire shoreline without leaving Texas, but the water itself is jointly owned. If you swim across it, you have legally entered another country without ever touching dry ground. It is a geographical oddity that exists nowhere else in the world. A silent, still lake that is two nations at once. Texas is not just big. It is a paradox. It is a place of disaster and safety, desert and forest, the past and the future. From a meteor crater no one knows to an invisible signal you use every day, this state has shaped the world in ways most people never realize. And now you know.